Hey everyone, it's me again. I thought I was done with putting my stuff out in an oral format, but today I was reminded how important it is to always reflect and be humble when you're trying to be an ally. I find, a very tight rope to walk, wanting to help, but knowing when to step back, when it's not your place, when your privilege is preventing you from seeing the disparities, when you're making judgments based on your privilege, on your perception of what is. I see so many people, I don't want to say spewing their opinions, but putting their opinions out there. They're formed, they're formulated, they're not going to change. So no one could argue with them. They've decided this is what they feel. And that's fine. But I find even myself every day of my life, I find that I have to humble myself with everything that comes at me, all the information that I see and know. I don't know if this makes sense, but humility is our best virtue because we cannot know what we don't know. And we can't pretend to know. That's not going to do anybody any good. Pride is hard. It's interesting. Pride is an interesting virtue. It's important, but I think you have to balance it with humility. So anyways, I'm off my soapbox. I just wrote this and I'm reminded of it today because humility is an important part of what I do or what I need to reflect on. It's called The Lion in the Mirror by me, a tried and true Leo. About 20 years ago, I was a volunteer at an agency that provided support services for victims of domestic violence. At that agency, I participated in a series of sessions that focused on art as a vehicle for healing. During one of these sessions, although I don't remember exactly the directive, perhaps there was none, I drew a picture of that iconic image of a kitten looking in the mirror and seeing a regal lion in its reflection. I remember the first time I saw that image on a Hallmark card that a friend gave me. The image struck me then, and it strikes me now. As I maneuver my way through careers in the helping professions, I think of that image as I reflect on my innermost motives, drives, ideology, and sense of self. That image holds so much truth to it, but maybe not in the way that you think. It seems fitting that after 20 years, I reflect on my growth and hard-won wisdom, and I can say when I look in the mirror that I see someone who is brave and strong, a lion. It seems fitting that my life's journey and the wisdom gained through all those lessons learned, all the broken glass I've stepped on, the narrow paths I've walked along, the winding paths that broke away from those narrow paths that I've explored. Those ideological pursuits that fueled my inner drive, they all led me to finally looking in the mirror and seeing the lion. As much as I want to take away the pain, the mistakes, the veered off pathways, those are all a part of who I've become. And liking who I've become has been a lot of hard work, never-ending work, like laundry. But if I could go back to that 23-year-old drawing the lion in that office, I would tell her, yes, you have become the lion, but that doesn't matter as much as looking in the reflection and seeing the kitten as it is, not a regal lion, just a kitten, small and humble. I'm sitting in my chair, a little unsure about what to say on the first day of class. The professor goes around the class asking for introductions and those dreaded questions that no one wants to answer. Why this field of study? What do you hope to get out of this class? What's your idea of fill in the blank? When it is my turn, I introduce myself and try to coherently express my internally prepared enigmatic response that will garner respect and admiration from these young students. If I'm being honest with myself, and I'm trying to be honest, a lot of what I do can boil down to that. I am a Leo after all, the most regal of all lions. Respect and admiration is a subtle driver of mine. Well, what Leo doesn't adore admiration and respect? But why? Why does it have a hold on us? Ultimately, others' opinions shouldn't be a motive. I never thought it was until I was honest, until I looked in my reflection and knew that what I wanted to see was the lion. So I introduced myself and muddled something about the importance of not being afraid to share my voice, to not be hesitant to share your voice. My voice matters, and I intend to use it in this profession. Gently, she reminded the class, or me, that as policy experts and advocates for social work and social change, we need to be able to listen, not always speak, but to listen to others' voices, others who may be in vulnerable situations. She made it clear that she would not refer to people in vulnerable situations as vulnerable populations. That takes away a dignity. So it was not about my voice. It's about my listening that matters. Humility takes much more courage than arrogance. Just recently, I was speaking to a woman I admire greatly about how to best help a mutual friend. She mentioned a tenet she learned from Al-Anon. It is arrogance to assume that you need to swoop in and fix others' problems when they have the power to help themselves. To fill a void of yours, to feel superior at the expense of someone else's dignity is arrogance. To feel sorry for them is a form of arrogance. And although truth be told, my intentions are always pure, my ideological need to fix the world's problems comes from that place of needing that external energy to buoy me up. It becomes self-serving. The arrogance is not conscious. So many of our motives are not conscious, but it is hidden there under the layers of the earth that can only shift with tiny earthquakes. Those tiny earthquakes that I want to avoid at all costs because it's more comfortable to walk along solid ground. But nothing shifts on solid ground. The beautiful wildflowers cannot grow on solid ground. Only among the cracks caused by tiny earthquakes can those wildflowers grow. Growth. That's the purpose of this, isn't it? So I've looked in the mirror and seen the fierce lion, and I've basked in that self-serving light of adoration. My favorite phrase is, "Oh, you're so amazing. How do you do it?" I've wanted that adoration. But the problem is that others' adoration is not yours to hold on to. It can be gone as swiftly as it came. Others' adoration or approval can shift with tiny earthquakes as well. We need to walk on solid ground, shifting as the ground shakes, but never lose our footing. Self-assuredness is a hard victory to win, but it is authentic, solid, unlike self-centeredness, which seeks the outside world to fill the vastness within. I want to feel empathy, not sympathy. I want to empower, not overpower. I don't want to feed my own internal void. I want to feed my soul. I want to look in the mirror and not see the regal lioness, but to see the kitten for who she is. She is small, yet wise and humble, and that is strength. Tiny earthquakes can't shake her. Thanks for listening.